Hello everyone, this is Greyshot 117 bringing you episode 2 of my How to Play COH2 series. This time I will be covering the Americans, and just a heads up, just to give a demonstration, my brother on the test dummy of last time could not show up, so I put an AI on hard on my side, also playing the Americans, and on the enemy team we have the OKW, both released with the Western Front Army's expansion, which is why I have them as the enemy, because they're the counterpoint to the Americans. Now, I will say this, as you can see my units, in the meantime I've built almost every single American unit, still waiting on the Jackson, but we'll get to that. As a demonstration on how to play as the Americans. Note I also have a higher pop cap, so I can have all those units, or pretty much the units that you can build without a commander. And I'm also as with the OKW, I will be going over the best doctrines and best commanders, because there's only 6 with both OKW and American, so there's not much leeway, really. Anyway, let's get started. So the American base. First up, you don't need to build anything, almost. If we go to the main hub, the main command center, note if any of these buildings are destroyed, same thing like the Soviets or any other faction, you will lose production of those units, so make sure that, the enemy doesn't attack your base. Now, the American faction is the best faction for early rushing and early gaining ground, because over late game the American weaknesses start to show up, and I'll get to those a little bit later once we get into more armor related. But anyway, in the meantime, let's start with the backbone of the pretty much army. The U.S. Army's pretty much main infantry force are Riflemen, as you can see here. I have 3 because just demonstrating their again how many units you'll routinely see. Because they're the only major frontline unit, you have a tendency to see American players blobbing a lot more than any other faction. Every faction can blob, but in this circumstance, the Americans will do so because, unfortunately, in early game, they don't have much else. And typically, you'll see American players will start out with a rear echelon squad. Every faction starts out with an engineer of some type. They have rear echelons, but usually American players will immediately start getting Riflemen for their backbone and start to push back the enemy if possible. Ways they can do this are very simple. First, just sheer numbers. Secondly, having the grenade package unlocked. This will pretty much be extremely valuable, because what it will do is it will allow your Riflemen and any other infantry that can have grenades the ability to have smoke as well. So you can throw a grenade, that's great, but you can also deploy smoke. And these smoke grenades are fantastic because they'll allow you to infiltrate enemy lines even under MG cover, because again, you see an MG, fire in a general direction, move past it, or get close and chuck more grenades and kill it. It's one of the strategies. You can also equip bars and bazookas. There's a third entry, which I'll show you right over here. That's the LMG. But pretty much you get the bazookas here and bars. And again, they're all 60 except for this, which is 70 munitions. Now, the LMG is probably the better one, but I'll get to that a little later. But for an equivalent to the MG42 that the Wehrmacht has, the bar is fantastic at taking down infantry. Inversing that. And the bazooka, while not as great as the Panzerschreck, will still be very, very effective at just hurting tanks. And I don't care if it's effective or not, having a full Rifleman squad, each with a bazooka or 2, will guarantee that the winning edge in a fight with armor. That being said, the Riflemen also have an ability where we can see here that at Vet 1 they get AT rifle grenades, which are same thing like a Panzerfaust ability. These ones are actually a little bit harder to shoot than the Panzerfaust, in my opinion. But overall, they're still very good AT grenades and will help versing a tank. With the new update, you need to actually, I believe, weaken a vehicle under 75% for it to actually cause motor damage. So one AT grenade or one anti-tank grenade will not be effective at stopping the engine. It'll hurt it, but it won't stop it. You need like 2 or more, I believe. Now, you can equip them with other abilities, and I'll get to that again, in case you're wondering, oh, where are the flamethrowers? As you can see here, the AI is just trouncing the other AI because my AI is a hard and the enemy AI is normal because they didn't want possibly the enemy AI to be a little bit too powerful and to bother me while recording this. Our next unit in the basics is the rear echelon, and if we click on the rear echelon, we're going to see pretty... Oh, and I should also mention something. With their stars, essentially it's just AT grenade and then just effectiveness. So that's pretty much all they get. The rear echelon, on the other hand, is a different unit. Unlike others, pretty much... Oh, god damn it, what's now attacking me? Yeah, run, rear echelon, god damn it. Run, Stern Pioneers. Anyway, rear echelons are probably... anyway, they're the cheapest engineer with 160 manpower. Riflemen are 280, so take that into mind. They're the most expensive, but they're also probably the best infantry in the game, or basic frontline infantry. The rear echelon is designed as a multi-purpose, probably combat support unit. So what it can do is also, I'll activate one, hazardous removal. So that's great. Now they also, just like Riflemen, I'll demonstrate over here because I have so much munitions right now from waiting. I'm going to send my Rifleman squads over here just to demonstrate what you need to do to unlock these abilities. Usually I do one of each. We'll grab this, grab over here, and grab it. As long as you're here, that's fine. The only downside is you have to go to base to unlock these weapons. You can't go out. But anyway, rear echelon, back to what I was saying, are great engineers. Pretty much their abilities include, of course, that mine detector and also hazardous removal kit, which pretty much will not only detect mines or remove mines, but also remove barbed wire. And that also includes now the steel barricade of the OKW, which has now been cuttable. It still block vehicles, but now it is cuttable. God damn it. Anyway, their abilities also include, once they get better, they actually get... they increase their they increase to a 5-man squad, which makes them a better unit, or at least a frontline unit. And there are strategies where people will disregard Riflemen and just go with large blobs of rear echelon. That's for pro players. I highly recommend just rear echelon as support. And how do they support? Well, they can heal, they can cut that barbed wire, they can lay down these awesome emplacements. I'll do one right now. We'll do it in this general direction. Also, while I'm doing that, I'll get myself a Jackson because I need that for later. Anyway, they can put down these pretty much MG. Essentially, it's like a bunker for the Wehrmacht, but they're field defenses. What is this? Fighting position. Thank you. They can also lay down razor wire and tank traps, so they're also great at locking down areas. They can also put down fuel caches and munition caches, similar to the engineers of all the other factions. Now I'm going to equip this with a 50 cal machine gun to show that, but I'm also going to show you another ability. If you put these guys into this base, they will automatically fire grenades. And not just that, they can also do this volley fire ability. They can do the volley fire ability, as you can see, whether they're in it or not. But what volley fire does, it will suppress enemy infantry. And if you have a lot of rear echelon and the enemy is out of cover, it will suppress the force very quickly. If they're in heavy cover and you have few rear echelon troops, it might suppress it over a longer period of time, or it might not. Sometimes it's very iffy with that. Here, I'm going to set this right there. Anyway, if we move, that's their effectiveness. Again, I see this as a support and moving throughout the territory. Next up, we have the ambulance. The ambulance by itself is amazing because what you can do is you can move it throughout the battlefield and you can have it, heal your troops. As long as you're in allied territory, aka any place in blue, you can heal the troops with the ambulance. And also, but you can not only heal, let's say if they have a damage, let's say there's 3 out of 4 guys, you can just heal. But you can also use this pretty much medical supplies, which will heal any troops that were damaged. So their health, not the men, the health will increase. And as you can see here, that's what they're doing with those rear echelons. You can see here they got more men. Good timing, AI. But also what we can do is, let's say the enemy's attacking you. Remember, if a vehicle is, let's say, targeting an enemy vehicle, let's say I have a Jackson, and or like there's a Panzer, a basic German tank, and it's targeting as attack target on vehicles, not anything. Or it can be anything. You can hop your guys out, and then it'll leave this abandoned. Then when the tank gets away, you kill it, whatever, you can hop back in, and the vehicle will stop shooting. But that being said, if we look at these medics, they're actually pretty effective. They do have some small combat arms, so do not think that they are defenseless. They will defend themselves, and they can do some damage, but that being said, they are relatively weak compared to most other forces. So no, they're not going to beat a Wehrmacht squad or an OKW Volk squad, but they'll at least put up a decent fight in case you actually want to fight and you know like it's a no-win scenario. Now, unlike any other faction, you have to do some type of unlock system to go up. But what's different about American is, since all the buildings are already built, you need to make the lieutenant, the captain, or the major to get any of these units. That's right, you have to build this unit to get anything else in that tree. And just so you know, you need only one captain and or lieutenant. You don't need both, you need one to then have the ability to unlock the major. Now, we're going to start off with the lieutenant, which is, I guess, the first tech tree that you unlock. Now, the lieutenant is, I would essentially say, like another rear echelon squad. They don't give all that much support, but what they do have is they start off with a bar, which you can see right there. So that, which is awesome. Because again, if you can start off with that type of, weapon, it's great for, it's great help for your front lines. Is that Thompson? Oh, maybe they do have well range. I did not know that was a Thompson. It looks like a Thompson. Huh. Anyway, essentially it's just a really, really good, effective squad. Again, heavily armed, really nice, that can go along with your riflemen. Note that the lieutenant's its own unit, so if, let's say, double click and that selects a rifleman, it won't select the lieutenant. But they're pretty much a really nice squad. You can only have one of these on the field at all times. But yeah, actually, I'm curious. Can I? Yeah, you can. So I guess that Thompson isn't showing up. But you can, since, again, they do have one bar, you can equip it with something else. And they're pretty much good. They don't have any other special abilities other than, again, like the rifleman's ability to have a grenade and smoke. So that's them. And with that, you unlock these three other units. First up, we have this utility car, which you can see here. The utility car has the ability to have armored skirts. I'll unlock that. They also have the ability to fire smoke, which we'll see right here. That'll stop any enemy targets from shooting it. They have the ability to lay mines, which I'll demonstrate right here. And with those mines, again, it's awesome to have this thing sneak around the battlefield, lay mines, and then get out. That way, again, if it's laying mines, what you can do is stop enemy armor movements. And let's say this main road, you can put it on the road and it'll stop the enemy armor right there. You know it's there, you can either go kill it or it'll whimper back. And that's great for versing heavier armor like Tigers, which now you can only have one heavy tank, unless you have a KV, then you can have many more, and a KV-1. But anyway, those mines are fantastic. Again, they can be removed by Minesweeper, but overall they're nice. Looks like the AI is doing a great job. But now we have armored skirts, and that is better defense. We can see here that, again, they have pretty much... Oh, armor-piercing rounds. I did not know that. That's really cool. Anyway, what they also have is they can get out as well, like any American crew, but what they get is also a bazooka squad. They also have some short-range weapons, but that's great for, let's say it's barely alive and you're versing a Puma, it's also alive. You can hop out your guys, fire a good shot, and then get back in. Anyway, the MG is, anyway, this is, as you can see here, it's pretty good. Again, getting around enemy lines, just be note, it's not a heavily armored unit, and it will be hurt by MG fire. Oh, please don't die that easy. Looks like you can at least defend yourself. Anyway, back to this game. We have an MG, pretty good, nice arc of fire. It can sprint, so it's similar to the Soviet MG, but it has more armor-piercing rounds with it, and it'll do... Actually, I believe... Yeah, let's see. No, I'm thinking of another unit. Sorry about that. Thinking of another unit. But it'll do a lot of damage. Good range, good arc to it. Not as wide as the MG42, but not as bad as the Soviet MG. Overall, pretty nice. Now we have this AA half-track. As you can see, it can fire in any direction backwards, and it can fire while moving, but in front, it can't fire. So that's a fourth of its area that it can't. But again, this is pretty good. It also is good at firing anti-aircraft, or pretty much firing at aircraft, which is great. Looks like the AI is being pushed back. Yes. At least for until we finish this. Anyway, so we get to hear that this is good for pretty much fighting infantry, fighting other smaller scout cars, stuff like that around the battlefield. It's also good for versing the other half track. Unlike the, let's say, the Wehrmacht half track, or the, which you need to set down, this one, again, is you just bring it up, fire, and go. But that being said, it is showing its rear, which is, again, the best and the worst thing about it, because, yeah, well, you know, normally in Company of Heroes 2, you never want to show the back of your tank, but in this case, it's the exception. Oh, we have a stolen Verkettenwerfer. That's pretty funny. Let's heal them for you. There you go, AI. Anyway, overall, it's really good. And it can do damage to even lighter stuff like a Puma, but this is not heavily armored. So if, let's say, it's versing armor-piercing rounds by the Wehrmacht, or it's versing an AT gun, something like that, it will die pretty quickly. This is supportive with infantry, and it's great for having infantry move up, and then this thing follows suit. Ooh, nice plane crash. I believe that's a plane crash because that's a big flame. But, you know. Yeah, I think that was a plane crash. Yep, it was an American plane crash. Oh, boy. Like I said, this is great at shooting down enemy aircraft, and if you have it on AA mode, it will only shoot enemy aircraft, and it will make sure that, let's say, enemy air support. This is the P-47 flying around the Americans get with the commander, but it'll make sure the enemy aircraft stay back. Please go away. Don't kill them just yet. Anyway, speed things up. That's pretty much the first area. The second one, as you can see here, is with the captain. The captain's different. The captain can actually make stuff build faster. We can see here. Supervise. It will, again, make stuff pretty much go, pretty much build faster in your base by commanding it. And it'll also get on me, so if, let's say, they're suppressed, it'll tell your troops to automatically get unsuppressed and get close to this captain. Really, really nice. Starts off with bazookas, and this tree is more, while this first is more anti-infantry, the second tree is more anti-tank and long range. Anyway, the howitzer is fantastic. It will suppress forces. You can also do high explosive rounds, or eventually white phosphorus. White phosphorus will decrease enemy health to a very low amount, but it won't kill it. The high explosive will do damage to light vehicles or big blobs of infantry that you can direct. Again, howitzer fires long range. The Americans do not get a mortar, which is why they get this instead. And again, the more you vet it up, the pretty much the more powerful this thing gets. And remember, if it hits a blob, it can possibly suppress the blob, which is fantastic, or just even individual units. The AT gun, this is probably the best AT gun in the game because you get Sabot rounds, which are very explosive. Not only that, but you can increase this arc of fire even more, making it the longest range AT gun. Great for shooting like those tank destroyers. And yeah, overall this is an awesome, awesome AT gun. The problem is it also can be, you want to make sure that you protect this, but otherwise it is great. And again, prioritize vehicles, that way it only hits vehicles. The Stuart is a great light tank. It can pretty much, I would say, the best light tank at killing infantry and also going after other tanks. Its gun is more suited for a single one-shot, and also, by fighting other tanks, it can do like critical shots. So a shell shock, which will again do some type of critical to the engine, or point blank, which will again kind of hurt the engine. So you can have this thing run around a King Tiger, possibly try to damage the engine, then get away, and then have your Jackson surround it so that you know it can't escape, or a Panther, something like that. Also, crew can get out, has short range guns, very nice, and they can also, with this vehicle, they can do a quick repair. So let's say this thing has a damaged engine, you can use this to quickly repair that engine, and then get back in and try to speed this thing away. Overall, this is a great light tank. Highly recommend using it versing, pretty much fighting enemy infantry or light vehicles with light armor. Do not verse this thing versing a Panzer IV unless it's well supported with other vehicles. Again, best thing it's a great infantry killer tank and a support tank on the battlefield. Alright, now let's get to the captain. I'm sorry, not captain, the major. The major is fantastic because this is one of the few things, it's funny, because you can activate this, and you can see the majors right here. You can activate this as a retreat point, and that's what happens. It'll activate this little thing. And that retreat point, equipped with an ambulance, you can do anywhere on the battlefield. And as long as you're in Allied territory, all your units on the front line, let's say my units are here and I have to retreat them and I have my major back here with this retreat point, they'll go behind the bush. They won't go all the way to base, they'll go to that bush. You can't get that equipment that's over here, but they'll go back to your that forward retreat point. That being said, it's a risk reward because if the enemy has artillery and finds this and knows the infantry is running back, there's a good chance you might have Katusha, Panzerwerfer, Stuka fire, or even a direct strike, all going for this major target because they want to kill that infantry. It's one of the most devastating ways to kill all American troops, so be very cautious and keep this thing on the move. This thing also can do recon planes, which let's say I'll just click here, and you'll have multiple it'll activate a smoke, and then planes will come in. The more you vet this up, the more planes you get, and also the better this barrage will be, which this is an awesome artillery barrage. I'll just, let's say here, I'll fire it down. And also, if you vet this thing up enough, it'll also get this fake rapid barrage, which is anytime you see this red... Oh, I feel bad for this. You can see how devastating it'll be. But anyway, anytime you see these things come down, the enemy will usually retreat. Oh, wow, they lived. Can be decently powerful. Overall, I wouldn't recommend using the artillery unless it's vetted up more. But the fake rapid barrage will make the enemy think like, oh my god, they have stuff coming toward me. Retreat, and that can give you the edge. That being said, you probably actually want this closer to the front line. That way you can vet this thing up. And then once you get vet up, you can retreat it. Its last vet will lock down an enemy position and also give this thing a speed boost, which is fantastic. But let's say I have this thing over here, hiding in the woods, and the enemy tries to capture this point, and they can't see it. The enemy will not be able to capture this point because my major will have vet 3 lockdown available, which is fantastic at just holding key points. Alright, but the major is very key, highly recommend it, probably the best of the 3. And overall, it's the most tactical to use, and highly recommend vetting this thing up for the best use, and equipping it with an ambulance to get that forward retreat point going. The Sherman is the next armor unit. This is a medium tank. It's the best overall tank I guess the Americans have, unless you have a commander. And what it can do is you can equip it with an MG with 70. Again, you can prioritize vehicles or not. And then also you can activate smoke. So let's say you're being chased, you can activate smoke, and that will fire off these smoke rounds that will deploy the smoke. If you've seen Fury, it's kind of like that. And that will limit the enemy's sight, and that will allow you a chance to escape. Also, you can switch it between loaded high explosive and load armor piercing. Armor piercing is better against armored units. Explosive is great at wiping out infantry squads. Overall, when again, you can also get guys out of here. They'll fight close range. And also they'll be able to heal it once vetted, which is really, really awesome. Oh yeah, make sure that again this thing is equipped, otherwise it won't do that. Kind of important note. But overall, Shermans are great because if you have, they have decent armor, and I believe they're better than a Panzer IV on one-on-one, or at least they're designed to. But again, they unless you have a lot, they are best in numbers, similar to a T-34. And you need a lot of them if you're hoping to verse a Panther or something like that. But if you instead of getting a bunch of Shermans, you can also get, let's say, 2 Jacksons. Jacksons are the best, probably, yeah, the best AT gun in the game because they fire incredibly long range. Well, a tank destroyer in the game. It fire incredibly long range. They can heal themselves on the front line, and also the most important thing, once you vet them up, not only do they increase like range and rate of fire and all this other stuff. Oh, nice. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, not range, but yeah, rate of fire, weapons. Yeah, they become very awesome, but you also get these armor piercing rounds, which once activated, there's a good chance that you can pierce any tank with those rounds, and it will do incredible amount of damage. I can't recommend that if have like a Sherman, 2 Jacksons, and a good Rifleman front, and that's pretty much like a good American force. The Americans do not have a heavy tank. That's the thing. So the reason why they're not as good late game is because once the enemy gets a King Tiger, a Yag Tiger, it can be incredibly difficult for the Allied forces to break that. But if you can circle the tank and get behind it, these things will tear it apart within a couple shots and will destroy and devastate the enemy. Again, Jackson, probably the best tank destroyer that you can get with Just a normal faction, no commander, no doctrine. Anyway, we continue and we get this mortar steward. This is the mortar carriage. This is the oddball. It has like a steward's body, but it has this mortar. And just to demonstrate, I think I'll be able to fire this. Yeah, please fire. Come on. There we go. It can fire really long range, and it's very, very powerful. You can also tell to hold fire. That way you can get behind enemy, get close to the front line, fire a couple rounds, and get back before the enemy really notices. They also can fire smoke or like more explosive barrages at specific areas. So we'll go here. But anyway, it's great for killing enemy emplacements, and it's great for just being on the move. This thing is like the little devil of the Americans because it'll one-shot your forces and run around. I've seen enemy allied forces having just riflemen and these, because these will kill any infantry force, and then they equipped all their riflemen with bazookas. That's also another tactic, but it is goddamn devastating. Yeah. But overall, these things are great for just frontline, taking enemy units and one-shotting them. But yeah, that's pretty much that American force. Now you may be wondering, why do I only have these 3 commanders? Why I'm not going into the other page for decals, stuff like that? Well, it's very simple. For the Americans, they only have 6 commanders. And for these commanders, and by the way, I don't care what skin you pick, stuff like that. Which is why I'm kind of tweaking how I'm doing the how-to videos. Anyway, so these commanders, these are personally, I believe, the best 3 commanders. Because the support and the the refit? Those 2 other doctrines, they're great early game, but most of their forces aren't that great. They're not very good, and they're just not they're not very well used. These are probably the 3 most popular commanders, and probably the 3 best in my opinion, especially the Rifle Company with the recent patch. I'll get to that. But anyway, right now the Armor Company is off here, and I would say that's a maybe. That has an M10, which is weaker than a Jackson, but it's a great tank destroyer for like versing panzers and light armor. Not good against panthers unless you vet it up for more armor-piercing rounds. Has a bulldozer, which is essentially like a Sherman with a bulldozer front that you can make cover with, and also like destroy emplacements. But it has this 105mm like howitzer on the front, which is very powerful. Oh, good. Yeah, I tired that a little bit. Hopefully. Anyway, it's very powerful at versing infantry. Otherwise, you get assault engineers, but they're terrible. Like, people are like, let's spam them. No. My normal Stern Pioneers, assault grenadiers are better. Assault engineers, they're essentially just engineers, very powerful close range, but they're not that great. So, armor is a maybe. And they also get like a howitzer, like a tactical artillery. But overall, I never use it because I don't recommend it. Because unless you're very good at, I mean, they can send out demo charges with the assault engineers, but overall, the tree is just okay. It's okay. Now, as you can see here, the AI currently has the Airborne Company. The Airborne Company comes with Pathfinders. These are lighter armored infantry that can deploy. They're about, I think, 210, and what they can do is they can deploy these sensors, and what the sensors do are very simple. They can detect enemy infantry close by on your mini map, and not in the like negative area. So like this would be the negative area, and this is on my mini map. And if the AI wanted to put one, let's say enemy units here, it can be detected if it's close by. Let's see, what does the enemy unit? Does AI have any paratroopers by chance? No. Great. Well, at least they haven't killed the enemy base. I'll give them that. Anyway, we'll go back here. This is a great support doctrine because what it can do is you can drop a machine gun or an AT gun. Both of them are great, and then it'd be picked up. Also, you can do a P-47 rocket strafe, which is that plane that was flying around earlier. This P-47 is probably the most overpowered, or was, and kind of still is, the most overpowered way to kill a bunch of tanks. Because let's say you have 2 guys who picked Airborne, and you have and they have no anti-aircraft guns. Oh my god, those P-47s will attack attack armor units across the battlefield. Incredibly devastating, and yeah, it's amazing. The problem is, if they do have anti-aircraft guns to shoot them down, well, you just wasted 240 munitions. Now, the paratroopers are great because they can drop in anywhere on the battlefield. The problem is, let's say this open area is better, but let's say you drop them near this bush because there's a limited zone, they'll possibly hit the bush and die. So make sure it's an open area, and remember, they will not fire unless they're deployed. They won't be deployed until they parachute down and just pick up their gun. If, let's say, you drop them into the enemy base, there could be so much machine gun fire and other stuff and normal troops that they could die before they even land a shot. So be cautious. Note that they won't fire until they're done unloading and like picking up their weapons, which again takes a little bit long for them to deploy. But paratroopers are great because they have a timed charge. They also have LMGs they can equip with, or Thompsons. Thompsons are great close range, LMGs long range. You can only pick one. But overall, they are very, very effective heavy infantry, and if you equip them right, they can be as powerful as shock troops or as deadly as Obersoldaten. Almost. Obersoldaten have the edge, but you have one or two paratroopers with LMGs, and they are very deadly, especially vetted up. Now, that's a great supportive American doctrine. The frontline American doctrine a lot of people go is Rifle Company, and Rifle Company is a bastard because when you start the game, as you can see, that's a level 0. And a lot of people do this because they'll instantly deploy a echelon squad or 2 and then get all the riflemen vetted. Now, the riflemen here are 20 manpower more, so they cost 300 instead of the 280 right here. But they automatically are vetted with 1 or 2 stars, meaning those riflemen automatically have either, let's see here, AT rifles or AT grenades, or they have the ability to, where's this? Yeah, increase squad survivability and weapon control under fire. So that's a really, really powerful bonus they get. Some people use flares. You can shoot them in enemy territory to reveal them. Oh, here are the P-47s in action right now. So we'll see if they do anything. They might hit the Kubel. Yeah, this P-47 very deadly against light vehicles. Susceptible to anti-aircraft fire from like this, but they will absolutely destroy light vehicles, heavily damage medium, and just do some critical damage on pretty much, I would say, heavy vehicles. Now then, flamethrowers. I'm a big proponent of, before this update that hit on the 23rd, which wiped my replay, so if you want to send me a replay after the 24th, you need to do it, which would be great. Anyway, flamethrowers are now OP. Before, there's a risk reward because you can easily one-shot, let's say, throw a grenade on a big blob of units, and, well, guess what? The flamethrower can be activated and succumb the whole squad. Now they made it so that unless there's the last guy in the squad, the flamethrower will not blow up, which is good and bad. It's great for the person attacking. It's bad for the person being hit by those flamethrowers, because flamethrowers in Company of Heroes 2 are very devastating. But that being said, they did up the, I guess, the effect of a flamethrower exploding, making them more deadly. So I guess that. But overall, the risk has been significantly decreased, which is why now you may see a lot more on the Company of Heroes 2, more flamethrower units on the battlefield, because it's now better for them. And, well, flamethrowers are now great and amazing at just killing infantry. So I highly recommend that over, I guess, my previous statement, because they fixed it, or at least made flamethrowers more OP. You can still counter them, but do not get up close, because those flamethrowers will burn you. And now the riflemen get it, so that makes them great infantry killers. White phosphorus is good because essentially it will decrease their health to such a low point that those medics that I got, or like a vehicle crew, I could, like, if there was, like, let's say 4 Obersoldaten with all their stuff upgraded with no health, and I got these guys out, I could instantly one-shot them all with this, grab their LMG, and get back in my tank. Like, having units with no health is truly devastating to the enemy. It looks like they're on their last leg, so better hurry this up. Anyway, they're very devastating. And the Easy Gate's the best all-around tank. It's better than the Sherman. You don't have to change it between, and their gun is good against infantry and tanks. The infantry company is great because it has the Mortar half-track. This is like your artillery. Riflemen can build field defenses, so the fighting positions cover even some mines. They're cheap. They're 5, but if you place them all over the battlefield, they're 5 munitions, but they can still hurt tanks if grouped up. They get the LMG, so if you have that doctrine, you can get this unlocked. And no, if one person has LMG, that doesn't mean the rifle guy can go over here and take it. You have to have this doctrine unlocked. And finally, they also have time on target, a very deadly artillery strike, which will fire in a target at such a quick succession that it could literally bring down a bunker or anything down to almost no health. It's great for killing emplacements. And then the priest, while this game is finally ending,
the battle is ours.
The priest is very good at artillery fire long range, and if you, oh my god, if you spam them, they are some of the best artillery units. My friend Airy got 8 priests on Sittard Summer and just utterly destroyed, here, let me quit playing, utterly destroyed the enemy, like, front line. Like, she killed a king tiger with all those priests. They can be very devastating and equipped with special rounds that hurt vehicles and vetted up. Very powerful. But again, that doctrine is best for like artillery and like defense. The Airborne is best for support and and also heavy infantry, and also let's cancel that because I don't care. And Rifle Company is best for having the best frontline infantry and the best tank that you can get. Noting that if you have a Sherman, that doesn't mean you can fight a King Tiger mano-a-mano. It doesn't even mean you can fight a Panther mano-a-mano. A Sherman can't fight a Panther. A Jackson alone cannot fight a Panther. But that's the whole point of the Americans. You need a good support force within your own troops to fight it. You need a Sherman, you need a Jackson, you need Riflemen, and then you can kill that Panther. Which is the downside, and why people don't like playing Americans, and why people lose at the Americans, is because they think that Jackson spamming can work, but then they just get Panzer Grenadiers, and since it's a tank destroyer, it does nothing against infantry, and they get wiped out. Or they go all Riflemen, and then a King Tiger comes in and kills it. You need a good, well-supported force. Now, I'm just going to show here those other commanders in case you're like, oh my god, blasphemy. I only have 3. The other one I'm missing is that refit doctrine, which essentially gets you that it's a 50 cal machine gun truck, but it's not the Kubel, it can't suppress, and it's terrible. It can easily be killed by a Stern Pioneer. You can put Riflemen in it and do maybe like a clown car type thing, but it's terrible. Honestly, it's really weak. Don't even recommend it. And this recon support, I mean, you get best sight. They nerfed the Greyhound, which is why I say you can't use this really anymore. The recon sweep is literally just a plane flying through the battlefield. It's very quick. Not great for that. And then this airdrop, you need 900 munitions. Rommel complains anytime someone has over 600. But you have to save somehow over the course of the game 900 munitions. And you get 2 paratroopers with possibly different vets and equipment. Plus you also get a AT gun that you can main yourself. Overall, it's okay. I mean, getting those troops out once, it's great. But it's not something it's not something I would possibly really recommend. Because, like, you have to save up so much manpower. It can be very costly. And you're not getting exactly a great deal with it. I mean, you're getting good. I mean, it's. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely better, and it saves you money or manpower and stuff. But overall, it's like you're wasting It's a long-term deal, and just make sure that those will be worth it. And like I said, the Greyhound's great for versing lighter vehicles, but the problem is even some light tanks, I believe. But the problem is the Greyhound got nerfed, and its canister shot ability, which originally could kill like a giant blob in one hit, which was fantastic, got nerfed, and now it can barely even hurt a squad. So that's why I recommend don't use this. And the Pathfinders, they can call down artillery, but like I said, it's better just to go with the paratroopers, because and like this armor company, the only thing I was missing was elite vehicle crews can upgrade Thompsons. Great. But you never want your vehicle crews really on the front lines. Unless that your vehicle dies, then I could see it. But, yeah. Overall, Airborne, support heavy infantry, infantry company, artillery, and probably like long-range combat, Riflemen, frontline combat, heavy duty, vet troops, plus great tanks, but not OP tanks. Easy 8s again. You have a Panther, you have anything higher, and it can easily kill it. But do not, if you see 4 easy 8s, don't worry. Like, then you worry. But if you're spamming that much, get some Jacksons in there, or because that will help you out. Everything else, intel bulletins, like I said before, make sure it's worth it. I know mine, I have munitions, that just saves me a little bit. And I also have that's a little bit quicker. If it pick something that you normally like use a lot of, what I don't recommend is stuff will build like this. No, actually, I mean, defensive structure is okay if you want to hurry up. I could see some people using that. I kind of use it sometimes. But yeah, this build 8% faster. Why? Unless you're spamming these to a point, it'll save you a second, if that. And yes, that could be helpful. Most people really don't care. But the best stuff to get is stuff like 6% faster reload or more armor, stuff like that, in my opinion. And then skins, stuff like that, that's up to your discretion. Decals, again, with the new mod stuff, you can unlock it on the workshop front page. But overall, that is the American faction on Company of Heroes 2. If I missed something, please let me know. Otherwise, I hoped this helped you pretty much get a better understanding of the Americans. Like I said, they're a good early rush, infantry-focused, an infantry-focused faction. Do not expect them great. They do not have heavy armor, which is already a detriment to them. But what they lack in armor, they have in just a variety of units. And like I said, that Jackson, it may not have the most armor on it, but man, that thing packs a punch. So just have infantry in the front, a couple Jacksons watching over. Let's say you see, I can almost guarantee you see like a half track or a Panzer IV, or even up to a Tiger. You have 2 Jacksons. 2 Jacksons long range can easily take out a Tiger. Easily. That's how powerful they are. But again, they don't have great armor themselves. So if a Tiger's up close, it could easily probably take out 2 Jacksons, still make it away okay. But if you have that Rifleman blocking them and making sure they can't get up close, Jacksons will win. But yeah, overall, that's the American faction. I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned next time where I go over more German factions. I believe I'll probably go over OKW, maybe Wehrmacht, one of the two. We'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.